Hello, hello. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Gafari Babatunde. Good to see you.
Happy to be here.
Ekene May, I see you. Good afternoon.
Muted. Hi, good afternoon.
Hello, Sandy. I see you. Good afternoon. I know it's night. It's night right there in Australia. Yeah. So Sandy is here with us.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me
Yes,
clearly?
I can hear you, Sandy.
Excellent. Can you see me?
Good to see you. Father Kelvin, good to see you. Yeah, you look cute. All right, Sandy, welcome.
Yeah. Thank you.
The moderator is here. I'm just going to allow her to take the baton.
Okay.
It's Charity, over to you. Yeah, can unmute yourself.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me?
I can
Perfect.
hear you.
I can hear you.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening, good morning, depending on your time zone. I welcome everyone. I welcome all of us to this seminar. I'm happy to be here, and I know all of us are excited to be here. So I say welcome, a very big welcome to all of you. Thank you for joining in. Thank you for being here. Okay, briefly, my name is Charity Odu. I'm a family life counselor. I'm a certified practitioner of positive psychology, emotional mastery, and family system engineering. I'm a wife and a mother of 3 children. So I welcome all of us to the DaHel seminar for singles and married. Special appreciation to them for putting this together. Appreciation goes to the guest speakers also. I welcome all of you. Thank you for being part of the event. And our participants, I also welcome you. I'm glad you're here. I believe you're going to learn something today because every day we acquire new knowledge. So without wasting much of our time, I want us to start. I hope we're ready to start. I hope I'm not talking to myself alone. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I hear you.
Okay. So I said I want us to start right away. I hope our participants are here. David, from your side, our participants, are they here or is it just the guest speakers that are here?
No, we have a couple of persons here already. Sandy is here. Ekene May for the.
I mean, apart from our guest speakers and performance poets,
yes.
Other people are here.
Yes.
I mean other participants, apart from our guest speakers, our participants are here. People that are supposed to join in are here.
Yeah.
All right, so we can start right away.
Sure.
Okay, so all right. So the first person on the lineup of speakers that we'll have here, the first person that is going to talk to us is Sandy Walker. Sandy, what do I say? Should I say good afternoon or good morning or good evening?
Evening. It's 10 p.m. 10 p.m.
Oh, 10 p.m.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining in 10 p.m. You should be preparing to go to bed, but you're
Yes.
still here with us. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay, a brief biography of Sandy. Let's know who Sandy is. Sandy Walker is a humanitarian and lifelong learner from Australia. She's an Australian director of the Blessed Children's Home Foundation in Kenya. Their mission is to improve the lives of the disadvantaged, beginning with education. She's both a wife and a mother of 4 grown-up children. She met her husband when she was just 17 and has been married to him for 22 good years. And Sandy will be speaking to us on the topic, your happiness is not your partner's responsibility. So Sandy, the floor is yours for 15 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you to, firstly, happy Valentine's Day to everybody. And a big thank you to David and Helen for inviting me. It's such an honor to be here. Now, I've got a lot of years experience under my belt, and I thought what was the most prevalent thing or the most important thing that I could pass on to somebody else way earlier in their marriage life or relationship journey that might save them some of the pain that I've been through. And I thought that would be to let them know that your partner is not the one who's responsible for your happiness. I've made that mistake for so many years, only to get to this stage to work out that, that was my responsibility all the way along. But in the beginning, I mean, it's easy for couples. Sorry, am I speaking too fast? Should I slow down? In the beginning, it's very easy for us to make each other happy, because in the first year or two, we're involved in a mating dance, which we are attracting our spouse, we're attracting that man or woman, and we're showing them our very best version of ourselves. And we'll do all sorts of things to make them happy. We'll watch a genre of movies that we don't like particularly. We'll listen to music that we're not especially fond of. We might even participate in sports or activities to please our partner, to make them happy, that don't really suit us. So we do start out putting our very best foot forward and making each other happy. But it's an illusion to think that just one person will be able to carry the weight of making you happy for the rest of your life. So therefore, your happiness, it's too important to leave in somebody else's hands. So what you need to do is to take sole responsibility for your happiness. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't do things to make one another happy within a relationship. Or I think that if you go about it with the purpose of making them feel loved and supported, and not so much like happiness is a natural outcome, but if you don't think that your responsibility is to make them happy, but it's to be there to love and support them. Now, quite often we come to a relationship and we're a bit broken and bent from our childhood. So we meet another person and we really want that other person to help fix us or to help fill up the parts of us that were left empty from maybe our childhood or maybe a previous relationship. So you want them to be the one to tell you that you are pretty or smart or intelligent or whatever it was that you wanted to hear from your family or your teachers or whoever. You might then turn to your partner and give them the responsibility of that. But I just want to tell you that your responsibility is to do that for yourself. It's not to lay that on them. So my thoughts on how it should run is that what we need to do when we love each other, we give each other that unconditional love, and we create this safe space within our love for each other. And in that safe space, we are supported and encouraged to become the very best version of ourselves. So we feel in that space, we feel loved and nurtured and truly accepted. So we don't need to seek external happiness, because that's going to be an automatic thing from when we are becoming our best version of ourselves. And we'll do that with the love and the support of our partner, but not leaving the responsibility for it laying at their feet. So we are all imperfectly perfect. So we don't need to be perfect to be accepted by each other. We don't need to be perfect to be happy. We just need to be striving day after day to be the very best version of ourselves. And it doesn't matter if we make a mess of that one day, we just try again the next day and the next day. And if you make your partner or your wife or husband, the person that you marry, they need to be your best friend, your very best friend, because you will do anything to stand by your best friend, and you won't expect the world from them. I mean, you'll expect love and loyalty, but you won't expect that they're responsible for your happiness. So if you can give that to your partner, encourage them, love them, support them to be the best version of themselves, and they'll reciprocate to you, and the end product of that will be happiness. That's what I believe anyway. So I think that's about what I've got to say on this subject. Thank you. Oh, I think I was too fast. Has anybody got any questions?
Okay, has anybody got any question for Sandy? Any question?
Yeah, Sandy.
Yes.
While you were speaking, one of the first things that came to my mind when I saw your topic, your happiness is not your partner's responsibility.
Yes.
I was tempted to ask myself, is Sandy telling us to go and have fun? Today is Valentine's Day. It's Sandy telling us to go and have fun the much we can without our partner.
No, 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 let me clarify that. It's not your happiness at the expense of your partner. So I'm saying we have a responsibility. Yeah, sorry, I should have clarified that. No, that's a very, very valid point. It's just not make yourself happy and your partner, just has to cope. It is to be responsible for your happiness within the guidelines of what will keep your relationship happy. Yeah.
Okay.
So
thank
definitely,
you so much, Sandy.
yeah. You're
welcome.
Thank
you so much. Thank you. We got that. I got that. I actually understood what Sandy is trying to tell us. Your happiness is not your partner's responsibility to per se. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't be happy. You shouldn't, just like the question that David asked, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't have fun with your partner. No, but sometimes you see we go into marriage with so much expectations, thinking that some people feel that once you're married, is your partner's responsibility, to make you happy. But one thing we need to understand is that happiness is within. It's within. It's inside of us. We are the ones to make ourselves happy. And the funny thing is that when we are not happy, we end up making the people around us unhappy. So Sandy is not telling us to not to have fun together as partners, but Sandy is trying to make us understand that it is something that is within, and we'll have to find it within. And we shouldn't seek for this happiness at the expense of our partner. I think that's what I understood from her topic, from that message. Thank you so much, Sandy. I appreciate. Is there anybody that has any question on this again, apart from the one that David just asked us? Any other question on this particular topic? Or any contribution? Is there anybody that has any contribution for us on this topic? I hope you can all hear me.
I can hear you.
Okay.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. If we do not have any other question or we do not have any other contribution, I think we should move to the next topic. I hope Maureen is available. Do we have Maureen in the house?
Maureen is not here.
Okay, Father Kelvin is here, right?
Yeah, Father Kelvin is here.
Father Kelvin
Ekene May is here.
Okay.
Let me send you the names of those who are around.
Okay, I can see Father Kelvin, I can see Ekene May. Okay.
All right.
Okay. Okay. Okay, I think the next person we should have should be Ekene May. The next person we should have now should be, we should have take a performance poetry from Ekene May. And Ekene May is an award-winning poet, visual artist, and a creative writer who has performed on various stages, both locally and internationally. One of her poems, Hall of Fame, got rewarded for the best content by NYPF. And another of her poem, also, The Butcher, won an International Poetry Prize in Italy. She holds a bachelor's degree in English from the prestigious Ahmadu Bello University. So, Ekene May, we welcome you to the stage. Ekene, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. David, it's such an honor to be here, and I'm particularly excited to share this poem. It's a love poem. At the outset, when a man says he loves me, and I clearly see that he does, I go numb. And besides the other things I'll do wrong, get scared, worry about what he really thinks of me, then wait for the day he'll think me rude or inadequate. I surrender myself to his thoughts like a lamb to the slaughter, tread carefully, sure it would hurt his toes if I stepped on them. I reduce me to a dunce, stay amazed every single time he tries to reach out, and stay on my lane if he doesn't. When the man says he loves me and I clearly feel that he does, I consider myself fortunate to be so loved regardless of who this man is. I wonder what he saw in a girl like me. He must be blinded by something, I presume, because this must end sooner, I add, than it does. I told you so, I say to myself. But then I grew, because right now, when the man says he loves me, I do not cower in fear. Instead, I open up my petals and spew words. I unravel my gold-plated scars and show him the stuff I'm really made of. I fan my embers and spew fire, because that's what love should do for you. Fan your embers and watch you shine brightly and light up the world, and the man says he loves me. I do not open up my thighs and hope to nip him in the bud. Stand aside and watch him watch my world and wait for him to see me, no. Instead, I pull him into my being and let him feed off of my soul. I unmask myself without regrets and wait for him to bolt if he can stand me, and if he does, I do not go after him like I do at the outset, kneeling, kicking and begging, second-guessing what wrong I had done to deserve this rejection I used to call me. I do not stalk him, wait for his calls, texts, or chats, or hope he comes back to apologize that he made a terrible mistake now. Instead, I shut my doors with both hands. In calm and poise, I exhale and breathe, revel in my skin, my beautiful black skin. I mind my thoughts and intelligence, marvel at my gorge and droplets of awesomeness. I invite the God of creativity and I dine with him and create masterpieces. I embrace me because I am enough. And if I shed a tear, it'll be for everything he lost that another man will gain. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you so much. I'm clapping from my end too. Thank you, thank you. I really appreciate. I
Thank
hope
you,
we're
Ekene.
recording this because I want to listen to this. I want to listen to this poem again.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yes, it's
Are
on
we
record.
recording
It's
this?
on record.
Okay, seriously, I
Yes.
want to listen to it again. Okay, thank you so much. I
You're welcome.
appreciate.
You're welcome.
Okay, all right. So next on our list, we're going to have Reverend Father Kelvin. Reverend Father Kelvin Ugwu is a Catholic priest on mission in Malawi, and he's one of the church's most influential and significant missionaries to the digital continent. Father Kelvin has remained very sensitive to the spiritual needs of not only those occupying the pews in the church, but also those occupying the cyberspace. And Father Kelvin will be talking to us on the topic, getting shock absorber in your relationship. Father Kelvin, you're highly welcome.
Thank you. I want to be sure that I can be heard. Right?
Yes, Father, I can hear you clearly.
I can hear
you. Thank you. Yes, let me thank the first speaker for that wonderful one. Thanks so much. And also most especially for the time, because the time difference is very high and huge, and you're still awake to join in this seminar. Thanks so much. And thank you also the poet for that beautiful poem. So I want to thank the organizer. I've known Francis for a long time now because we're together in the seminary. And then I'm happy for him that right now he is married to his beautiful wife, Helen. So I think he has a lot to share, owing to the fact that is coming from a background of somebody who wanted to be in another aspect of life, and then finally find himself again in another aspect of life. So I think he's somebody that we can actually listen to. So now I'm going to talk about getting a shock absorber. And I think it is just important and something to summarize for us to get an idea of how we can do this to have a beautiful relationship. You see, in life, generally, when people are relating with us, there is something that we are giving to them consciously or unconsciously. That thing we are giving to them consciously or unconsciously is that we are making them feel either free or we are making them to feel stifled. There is a way that will come across to people that they will feel very free to share anything with us. There's a way that will come across with other people that they will not even want to share anything with us. In fact, I call this expanding your memory space. Memory space in your head and in your heart, in a way that you can accommodate anything that can come in. If I'm relating with you today, and I discover that you are not somebody who is open-minded, there is the level at which I can go with you. If I share something very small with you, I watch your reaction to it. Or if things are happening around you, I watch your reaction to it. I have a friend in the area where I grew up. There is a particular lady that became pregnant. As of that time when we were growing up as a young teenager, I had this very, very strong view when it comes to issues like this. And I was, walking along the way with my goddaughter, and the way I painted the story, like this girl has gotten herself pregnant. I almost like condemned her or made it look like she has done the most horrible thing you can imagine in this world. I wouldn't know, or I didn't know that my goddaughter is taking notes. And unfortunately, after many years, I became a priest. And unfortunately, or fortunately, I wouldn't know which one to use in this scenario. This goddaughter of mine found herself in that same scenario, in that same situation. She became pregnant, but she couldn't tell me why. Because even though she could not say why she couldn't tell me, it was not unconnected with the fact that she has already known how my reaction will be. Because at the time when we are together, there's a way I reacted to someone's own situation. And so she already concluded that if she said this to me, this is exactly how I'm going to react. So it is better for her not to do so. This is just an example to give us a picture of how people, how when we are relating with people, they kind of perceive our ability, whether they are going to open up to us or whether they are going to be restrictive. So if we are open-minded, there is this possibility of them being very open to us. If we are closed, there is this high possibility too that there is a lot of things that they would have loved to share with us, but they wouldn't share with us. Now, having that open-mindedness, having that ability to be docile in the sense that you could accommodate everything and still filter through and still remain who you are and still maintain your position. This is what I term as shock absorber. Because just like in vehicles or in everything, take example of a vehicle, you have the shock absorber in that vehicle. It doesn't change the vehicle generally, but it helps the vehicle to be able to maneuver difficult situations, difficult terrain, bad road, potholes, bumps, things that are in a way that could affect the driver. But because of the shock absorber, the vehicle maneuver all through those aspects and the vehicle moves smoothly as if nothing has really happened. And so in our own personal life, as we deal with one another, people are taking note of people they can be open to. People they can be a little restrictive with. The same thing happens in relationship. You could be in a very close relationship with somebody. Just like how the first speaker talked about, your partner should be your best friend. But you see, there is some partners that you can't lay open everything about you. But there is a close friend somewhere whom you are not, quote unquote, married to or in a relationship with, but you could possibly lay open everything about you to that person. Why? Because you judge that that person will be more open to listening and will not be open to condemnation or condemning you for your actions. So, and that is why when people are in a relationship and they discover that their partner is a close-minded person, they will relate with you in every aspect. Things that concerns you or things that will make you happy, they can tell you, or things that they feel you react well. But things that they know that you will not react well, or they already perceive how you're going to react, they will keep them to themselves. And in that sense, they're already creating a barrier. So if you want a relationship that will grow, and you want a partner that both of you become good friends, you must understand one thing, that human beings are dynamic. You can't fully understand what everybody or what even yourself, what you are capable of doing. How you react to them are defining you. The reaction you may give 10 years ago to that same kind of situation may not be the reaction you give after 10 years because you have another perspective and view to it. So even you yourself as a person, you may not really understand what reaction you may give to a particular situation in 10 years to come. So you are constantly evolving. You are constantly, understanding yourself. And the same way There are things that you may do that will even shock you as a person. There are conditions or situations that you put yourself, that you find yourself, and you will see a decision that you take, and you will remind yourself that if it was 10 years ago, I would have sworn that this kind of thing, I wouldn't have done it. And so, when you realize that about yourself, you must create that room also for the next person, so that the next person you could accommodate whatever may come from that next person. This doesn't mean that this doesn't mean that you just take in everything and just be happy about it. But this means that your partner is free, your partner is happy, your partner doesn't feel condemned to even tell you the worst situation of his or her life. Because now, in life, especially in relationship, people tend to take just the good part. How things are happening. I've got an admission. I want to tell my partner about it. That is beautiful. I got a job. I want to tell my partner that is beautiful. I got a salary, a pay rise. I want to tell my partner about it. Today, something happened in the office. I was so excited. I was given an award. I want to say that to my partner. Today, I've been invited to give a talk. I'm so excited about it. I want to tell my partner about it. Now, what happens in the non-palatable situations? Situation like you saw somebody that in a way you are so, should I say, crushing on that person. Let's say you are married, but somebody just passed by and you saw yourself, loving this person. Will you be bold enough to say, see that there's something that I'm feeling for this person? When you share it in sincerity and your partner is able to help you process it, you can overcome that situation. Or let's say there is another more terrible situation, something that you did that you could consider as horrible. And you wouldn't know whether if I share this with him, he will break up the relationship. Or if I share this with him, he will just end the whole thing. This is not to condone evil doing. I'll give a very classical example of the trend that is happening maybe in Nigeria, especially with social media. The trend of DNA. There are some situations that maybe somebody may have found himself or herself, or let's say a girl, and she has done a moment where this thing happened. She really wants to talk about it with her partner, but she is so scared that she doesn't know if the partner will take it in. And so she just postponed it to next week, from next week to next week. And then after a while, he may just feel, well, why not just make it look like he's the one that is the owner of this pregnancy? You see, there is fraud in it, no doubt. There is something deceit in it, no doubt. There is something very horrible in it, no doubt. But the part that we are looking at is, what is the reason why your partner was unable to tell you at that moment when it happened? It may be because this person has perceived you as somebody who cannot take in some of these things. Somebody who doesn't have the shock absorber to carry up what is going on, the details of the pain of horrible stories. If this person has perceived you as somebody who is able to take in this shock, even if you are going to take a drastic decision, but at least there's a way you take it down and make your decision beautiful. If the person has perceived you that way, the person may be free to tell you anything. And so this is the reason why we are talking about this whole topic, is that for us to have a very beautiful relationship and marriage, we must keep this at the back of our mind. There is something that your partner may do tomorrow that you will never imagine that he or she will be able to do that. But this person enough to talk about it with you when the person perceives that you have enough shock absorber. When the person sees that you have enough shock absorber to carry things, the person can tell you about the good, the person can tell you about the bad. And it doesn't stop there, even in your relationship with your partner. It extends even to your children. It extends to the people that are working with you. Your children cannot tell you when they are seeing their period, for example, when they're about to start. Your children cannot talk about how a particular boy met her in the school. Your children cannot talk about how they broke the glass or the glass cup in the house. Your children cannot talk about how how they spoiled the remote control or something like that. They leave it to you until you find out yourself. They can't come and tell you because they already know the reaction of their daddy. They already know the reaction of their mommy. The reaction may be the way you come across. We give them that. We give that room if they'll be open to talk to you about it, or if they will be close about it. This is very tiny. Look very minute, but it's very important. I grew up in a family where you could tell my mom anything. She's going to chastise you, but you already know that you just need to tell her. I mean, she's so open that you can possibly say anything to her. Like my dad, you can't tell him anything. You just, if he's coming, you just go and you just look for a place and hide your face until he will finally find out. So this healthy relationship that we must develop is being able to open up to ourselves to understand that each and every one of us are in the stage of self-discovery. And let it not be, like the first speaker said, your happiness is in your hand. And why your happiness is in your hand is this: what your partner will do, it may affect you and it may not affect you. He or she will do, that will determine how it will affect you. Whatever he does or whatever she does, it is your reaction that makes a whole lot of difference. And your reaction to whatever your partner gives you is a product of the shock that you have in you. The kind of shock you have in you will determine your composure in your reactions. Your reactions will be calm, will be coordinated, will be rational if you have enough shock absorber. But if you don't have, you may end up acting, and at the end, your actions may affect you and you regret them. Let me just leave it here while we open up the discussion, questions on answer or contributions, and then we'll wrap it up from here.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Father Kelvin. In fact, I lack words to describe it. You see, I said it that we learn every day, we get new knowledge every day. Thank you. I have learned something very wonderful this afternoon. Thank you once again. I know other people may have questions, but I have questions. I want us to really expand this topic that the talk that you just gave to us. Okay, I have a question. Like when you were talking about friendship, if you made mention of maybe my partner not being my friend, but now I have a friend, a very close friend who will listen to me better than my partner would do. And I want to ask, and now that it is important that I develop this friendship with my partner so that I can talk to him freely, like I can talk to a friend. How will I develop this friendship? How will I build this friendship? See, this question is in two phases. Phase one, for somebody that is already married, and in this marriage, there's no friendship. How will he or she go about building this friendship? Phase two, what do you tell the young ones who are currently in a relationship now, hoping to get married? What will you tell them about building friendship in their relationship?
Okay. The first question, I will say this: you should be ready to take the risk, because there are some things that you may end up opening up to your partner, and that may end up affecting you. And so you should be ready to take the risk. If you are ready to take the risk of whatever consequence that will come, because what makes people to keep things to themselves is because they are afraid of the consequence that will come after that particular decision. So that is what is making people to say, okay, let me keep this particular aspect to myself. I once had a friend whom I was just counseling, and what happened? This friend opened up to the partner whom he was about to get married. Opened up to the partner very clearly. This is what I have done. This is the kind of person that I've dated. And then it went to an extent where she knew that she has dated this person's friend. So she was in a dilemma. Should I open up to him and tell him that I've dated your friend? We have had some kind of things to do together. She opened up and said the same thing to the friend. I mean, to the person that she was actually dating. And what happened? The guy didn't take it. The guy couldn't take it. And that was like the end of the relationship. Now, that could be good in a way, because you would have said, okay, after marriage and the lady or the guy finally discovered it will affect their marriage. That could be good in a way. But there are some ladies who want to take their chances and say, well, I'll keep keeping this thing as a secret until I die, because let it not be something that would affect me. So what I will say to you basically is this: you have to take your chances. If you know that your partner is open enough, somebody you can share, so be able to work on those things maturely. Beginning relationship to understand the person you want to, build that life partner with, that life story and life journey with. If it's not somebody that you can connect with, you can freely express yourself with the person, then you can tell yourself beforehand that this thing will not work. But once you are not able to discover that from beginning and you just jump into the relationship or into marriage, then sorry, you can't you may not be able to build it all your life. So you see that all your life you keep having some secrets, things that are so much in you that you keep hiding, you keep keeping on, you keep holding it on, that you will not have any. That is the way I will look at it. I wouldn't know if I've answered your question. I think I just put it to,
Yes, Father. Thank you. Thank you so much. I want to ask, is there anybody that has any question before I make my contribution to this? Any question from anybody?
I just want to say thank you. I think that was very, very valid. And I think that we don't talk about things like that enough. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Okay. Do you have any other question?
I would just like to make a contribution.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah, that was a good one from Father Kelvin. Yeah, it goes along with what I usually tell people. I say that people that shows that they are not able to handle the truth, they always set themselves up for lifelong deception. And I think just using common sense, it's better to know the truth and know how to deal with it than to be oblivious to the truth. And I'm glad you also mentioned the relationship between parents. It goes beyond just lovers. Personally, one of the remarkable things in my life is I spent 12 to 13 years before I graduated from college. And looking back in retrospection, I always tell myself, if I felt very free to confide in my parents when I had issues in the college, I wouldn't have spent the number of years I did. And one could see my relationship with my parents now and admire it because we really get along. But at the same time, that place of being able to feel free with people without expecting too much condemnation. I mean, when we do something bad, we already feel bad within ourselves. We are human. And most times we don't need somebody that would empathize and not judge us. So I just want to add that. Very good one from you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ola. Thank you so much. Thank you so
much. Thank you for the wonderful contribution. Thank you so much, Father. Thank you for this particular topic. And I want to add, because like I say, my area where I major mainly is premarital counseling and parenting, because I have this belief that if we get it right from the beginning, before even entering marriage, but unfortunately, people don't want to learn skills. People don't believe that there are marriage principles and skills. And we keep saying that there are actually principles that govern marriage, and which if you master it very well, you won't have issues in your home. And one of those skills and principles is what you have just said, Father. Because if at the beginning, most times the challenge is this, even people tell you they've been in courtship for 3 years, some people tell you they knew each other for 6 years, some people tell you they knew each other for 10 years before getting married. And sometimes you discover that they were just there in their relationship without actually knowing each other, without studying each other. So without building this friendship that we are talking about. See, one of the major challenges we are having in marriage presently is lack of friendship. Seriously, lack of friendship. And this friendship, you are supposed to build it while you are in courtship, while you are in a relationship, before actually getting married. So you see, we are in a courtship, we are busy doing party after party, eating shawarma. Today is Valentine's Day. What we'll talk about is gifts and all that, and taking people out. The major thing, the reason why you are in that relationship, you are not doing it. So I am talking to each and every one of us. For now, I am talking to those. I'm not talking to marriage already. I'll come to marriage. I am talking to singles. You are in a relationship or you are planning to go into a relationship. It is important that you build this friendship. It is important that you get to the level where you can tell this person anything. And it is important that the person you are planning to spend the rest of your life with is somebody you can open up to at any point in time. And that also brings me to the point that, just like Father was saying, reasons why people don't open up, you've said it all. I want to add that there's something, what you just told us now is what we call emotional mastery. Our emotions sometimes are the challenge. When people are not emotionally intelligent, that is where the major problem comes. So if we are emotionally intelligent, and that is one thing I advise us today that we should take home, is what we call emotional mastery. Let's go learn how to master our emotions. If we're able to learn how to master our emotion, you see, what empathy is one of the skills in emotional mastery. And if you have enough of this empathy, you don't judge easily. You don't judge easily. I'm not talking about sympathy. Sympathy is different from empathy. Empathy is kind of wearing the shoe with that person. So when you feel you're in that person's shoe, you won't judge. You won't condemn immediately. You will take your time before you act. So we need to learn this. We need to master our emotion. Don't control your emotion. No. Controlling it is just briefly like that. You're angry, you're trying to. Let's learn to master our emotions. It will help us also in our marriage. So, Father, once again, I want to say thank you very much. And thank you so much. I really do appreciate this topic. And I also appreciate our friend that just contributed. You also just hit a nail there. Also just made a valid point, especially when it comes to parenting. And those of us who are already married, who are already parents, also a key in parenting. Do this parenting in a way that these children will be free, to come to you, talk to you freely at every point in time. So once again, Father, I say thank you so much. I really do appreciate this topic, and I have picked something very important from this topic. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So we have okay.
Yeah.
David,
mine
you
is
want
just to say just to say a big thank you. I know Helen is going to talk about something related to that, because I suffer well for her hand, no be small, padre. And I think it was, I mean, it's not like back then they would tell you a lot of things, but taking care of a woman and being taken care of, these are two different things. So I really connect with your topic and Sandy's topic, because I know that, man, they suffer. Ellen, I find babe now. So when there is the absence of emotional maturity, imagine you are calling her almost every single day, babe, where you did? Are you home? You're asking so many questions.
Yeah.
And for someone whose trust has been broken many times, that was excruciating. That was really excruciating. And I think that's why we have the book, because it was like 50-50. She has been broken many times. And imagine the two of us meeting. It's like, it wasn't funny. So thanks so much for that connection.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, David. Okay, so now we are going to stretch a little. We have a seasoned musician in the house, and I'm going to call him now. And after him, we are going to have our next speaker, Ogbeni. I hope I got the name right. That will be the next person after we have the musician in the house.
Wow.
Musician in the house, Kilokeys, a safety engineer and also a wonderful instrumentalist. So Kilokeys, the floor is open. Welcome to the stage. And while Kilokeys is performing, it would be nice for us to get up from our chairs and stretching our legs so that, we won't be bored and won't be tired, so that we can go along with our seminar. So Kilokeys, the floor is open. Kilokeys, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you.
I'm so glad for this topic of discourse. It's very, very key. And one of the things I want to talk about is being vulnerable. I'll just chip this in. I'm supposed to just perform outrightly, but I was in a relationship for like 2 years and I did not know what my partner earned because I was not concerned. I was just busy doing the giftings and the likes. And one day it came up like, babe, how much do you earn? And she's like, it's not your business to know what a man earns. And it was shocking because these are the communications I did not see coming, because how would you be dating someone and not know how much they earn and you guys are supposed to plan a future together? I knew my father's salary when I was in GS1, when I was in secondary school, because it helped us plan. Okay, I can't ask them for this, I cannot afford this, but they can afford this. We get. So, and when I made more inquiries, I found out that her mother and parents, they don't talk about their salaries. Their father doesn't know what her mother earned. To see where she's coming from. So I think love is about being vulnerable too. So people have to learn. So it was a huge lesson for me, because what were we doing for 2 years? Wasted our time when we could have talked things over. You understand? So I thank you all for such a wonderful topic. So I'll just go dive right in. Baby, sure you do it for me as I did for you. Baby, sure you do it for me as I did for you. Yeah. Waiting me down, I can't do for my baby, my baby. When you come to my sorry, Waiting me like nothing I can do. Oh my baby, my shawty, oh yeah, my baby. Yeah, so this next song I'm doing just the two of us by Washington Grover. I see the crystal raindrops fall and the beauty of it all when the sun comes shining through. I know those rainbows in my mind when I think of you sometimes. Wanna spend some time with you, just the two of us. Oh, beauty castles in the sky, the two of us. Oh, you and I, just the two of us. Oh, beauty castles in the sky, the two of us. You and I. We look for love, we find for tears, wasted water of their age, and to make no flower grow. Oh, good things might come to those who wait, and not to those who wait too late. We gotta go for all we know, just the two of us. Oh, building castles in the sky, the two of us. Oh, you and I, just the two of us. Oh, building castles in the sky, the two of us. Oh, you and I. Then if I have time, I can by Adele. Everybody love the things you do, from the way you talk to the way you move. Everybody here is watching you. Feels like home. You like a dream come true. Oh, if by any chance you hear alone, can I have a moment before I go? Cause I've been by myself all night long, hoping you're someone I used to know. You look like a movie, sound like a song. Oh, my God, this reminds me of when we were young. Let me photograph you in the sky, in case it is the last thing that we might be exactly how we were before we realized we were sad of getting old and made us restless. We were sad of getting old and made us restless. You look like a movie, you sound like a song. My God, it reminds me of when we were young, when we were young, when we were young, when we were young, when we were young. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Kilokeys. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was a nice one. We appreciate. Thank you.
Thank you.
So next on our all right. Next on our list we have Ola Olu Adebayo. That is Ogbeni La. I hope I'm getting the name correctly. Please forgive me if I didn't pronounce it, but please. So he's a guest speaker from UK, and from his biography, he's a storyteller. So I'm excited. I'm excited. I heard he's a storyteller, so he's going to tell us a story about his love life and lessons that he got from his love life, so that we can learn as well. So, Ogbeni, the floor is open for you. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, the moderator.
Oh, you're the one. Wow, wow, wow. I didn't know you're the one you've spoken to us already.
You really
Amazing.
to murder my name. But
Sorry, you said I murdered
you
your
really
name.
attempted to murder my name. But don't
So
worry.
sorry about that.
In the spirit of the season,
You forgive me.
I forgive you. You're
Okay.
spreading love around.
Okay. Please, let's hear the correct name, please.
Okay, my name is Olaolu Adedayo.
Okay, I did
Popularly
that.
known as Ogbeni La. But you can just call me La for ease.
Better.
You know, the Zoom application is used for many official duty, and that is why it's good to have your full names appearing on your Zoom. That is why I have Adedayo there, but you can call me La.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so I will dive straight in. Thank you to all the speakers that have spoken before me, and to David for having me here. My name once again is Olaolu Adedayo, popularly known as La or Ogbeni La. I am a content strategist and a brand storyteller. As a matter of fact, I co-run a social platform known as Couples of Zuckerville on Facebook. You can check that out or visit www.couplesofzuckerville. On that platform, we curate stories of lovers that met on Facebook and went ahead to get married. You'll see amazing stories there. And the good thing is I'm also one of those people. And that's my love story. I met my wife on Facebook. Or shall I say my wife met me on Facebook, because she actually was the one that took notice of me first and came into my inbox. And from there, we knew right away that we wanted to be in each other's life forever. That happened sometimes in July 2019. And by December, we were married. Just within 11 days of seeing each other for the first time, we got married. And you know, the story was so amazing. It got many people talking. I remember BBC Yoruba had to look for my contacts to say, how did you do it? How did you meet somebody for the first time and within 11 days you're married? Well, when we met each other, when we started talking, we realized we wanted to be in each other's life. My wife was working in the UK as an NHS staff. She's an advanced registered nurse. And since she left Nigeria, she had not been to Nigeria. She has not been back to the country in about 3 years. So when we started talking in July, we agreed that she will come home in December and we would see each other for the first time, at least now that we are dating. And sometimes in October of that year, 2019, she was where she makes her hair with her hairdresser, and we were talking on the phone as usual. And the hairdresser, seeing how much we connected, was wondering, if you have not seen this person before and you guys are like this, why don't you just get married when you go home in December? And she put that idea in her head, and because we really know what we wanted. I mean, if she comes in December and she goes back, we were planning latest by April of the following year, we'll get married. So we felt it didn't make any difference, that we could just go ahead. Luckily for both of us, when we started going out and we knew she was coming in December, I advised that we start talking to each other's parents so that it will be easier. I mean, when she comes home, I could say, Dad, the lady I introduced to you that I'm dating, she's finally in the country, meet her. So we had started doing that when we decided, okay, let's get married in December. And it made it easy. You know, it was easy to say that lady I introduced to you and you've been talking to, we are getting married when she comes home in December. And that was just long and short of it. Being in the country, I had to be the one shoveling between my parents' place and her parents' place so that we could make all the arrangements and make it very easy. But long and short of it is within 5 months or less, we got married. And she left. She had just 14 days vacation. She left. I was to join her the following year by March. And the whole COVID-19 happened. And we had to stay apart again for the next 6 months, which was very, very excruciating. But I finally joined her in September. And since then, we've been living together. And that's why I can be having this speech all the way from the United Kingdom. That is long and short of my love journey. I am asked to speak about lessons from this journey. And in 4 bullet points, going straight to the point, I will do just that. Now, the first thing is, I realize it is important to know yourself as a single person, even before getting married. It is important to have self-introspection. And how do you do this? It is by constantly and objectively looking back into your story, what you've done. You look back and see how you could have done better. And don't deceive yourself when you're doing this. That is how you get to know yourself. Why is it important to know yourself? When you understand yourself, it is easy for you to make somebody else to understand you. And if you don't understand yourself, it is unfair to expect somebody else to expend their energy, time, and resources into understanding you. Now, while preparing for this speech, I made provisions to whoever might be listening. People might be asking themselves, okay, how do I know myself? I know I've talked about introspection, but there are also some available platforms that can help you to know yourself better. One of those platforms, I would say, is taking personality tests. I'll recommend for whoever is listening, www.systempersonalities.com. Please, if you can put that down, it is going to be very helpful. It helped me a lot, even as someone that pride myself as knowing myself very well. If you take that test, you understand you. If your partner also takes the same test, you compare results, you understand each other better. Also, know, aside your personality tests, know your temperaments. I was lucky as far back as 2006. I read my first Tim LaHaye's book. I think it's Why Do I Act the Way I Do or something. But grab any of Tim LaHaye's book, read about temperaments. I am a phlegmatic sanguine. If you know yourself, it helps you to also understand the other person. So that's that. The second thing is communication. I know it sounds cliche. Everybody's mentioned communication in the role of a relationship. But in my own love journey, because of the difference in continent between myself and my lover, we had to rely very much on social media to bridge communication gap. By the time we saw for the first time, I realized we felt closer even than people that see each other every day. And why was this? I realized communication goes beyond trying to while away the time with one person. Communication is about seeking to understand that person, seeking to know more about them. And going back to what the Reverend Father said the other time, one of the things that makes communication easier is knowing that who you're communicating with is very receptive to whatever you want to say in a non-judgmental manner. You know, it helps you to pour your heart. And so I would say communication, but not in the cliche form. You communicate in order to know the other person better. Another thing I jotted out, the number 3 thing in my love life lesson is teamwork. This might also sound cliche, but then you can't overemphasize it. I like to always use the analogy of football team. In a football team, we usually have 11 players. And most times, these 11 players are selected by a coach. Now, if we use, let's use English Premier League, for example, or any professional league for that matter. You have 11 players selected by a coach. But even the coach is not always the one responsible for bringing together those players. We have the club management that buy this player from different places you can think of, different race, different continents, different age, different temperament and all. But every time these 11 players go to play as a team, they are working on the same goal to win, irrespective of their background. So when one player is not giving his best or her best, it is not affecting just that player. It is affecting the whole team. Now, how much more in relationship where you choose each other, you're just 2 teams, 2 players, and you choose each other. So always look at each other as a team. When you put your best, you're not the only one that will reap it. The team reaps it. And when you don't put your best, you're not the only one that will be affected and not the other person alone that will be affected. Because you are a part of the team, both of you will be affected. Now, finally, and this one, I got this insight from my wife, and it goes to women. Go out and look for what you want. You see, when you pursue your choice, you have a better chance of not settling for options available. And that is what men have over women. I'm a gender, I believe in gender equality, but I also believe that we are unique in our own ways. Many times women look at men as being the more favorable sex. But the thing is, men take on that responsibility. Most times you see it's men that go out looking for what they want. And don't be deceived. Sometimes men would ask 8 women out or 10 women. Maybe it's only one that agrees. But out of those 10, they are what he thinks he wants, what he thinks he deserves. So if it is one that agrees, to spend the rest of her life with him, he would have inadvertently ended up getting what he wants. Now, the same would apply to women if they go out, if they don't wait for options to come to them and just pick or let me say settle for those one of those options. If they are the one going out to look for what they want, they have a better chance of getting what they want and what they deserve. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'll call you La. Let me not make that mistake again. So I'll just call you La. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Amazing. Amazing. It's as if the topics we are having are trying to fall in line from the first speaker, Sandy, to Father Kelvin, and the story you just shared with us now. Everything is just about the same. So, and then I'm happy that you shared this story with us because I have picked some lessons from here. And before I share my lessons, please, I want to ask if there's anybody that has any question to ask. Any question? Okay, any contribution? Did you pick any lesson from this story? Sandy, do you want to talk to us?
Can I say something?
Okay, Father, go ahead.
Okay. I think that point that Ola pointed out is the aspect of going out to search for something that you like. I think is something that is dear to me, something that I feel very passionate about. I just think that I wouldn't know how that will happen, but I wish we'll get to the point where we are not going to put a burden on the ladies by asking them to sit down at home and then expect men to come and look for them. And when men don't come looking for them, we turn around to blame them for not getting married. I don't understand why the society will be like that. Society will not blame men, actually, most times. It's like the women will take more of the blame. And yet the women are not encouraged to go and look for a man. Women are encouraged to sit at home while they wait for the man to look for them. And when the man did not come looking for them, the society, instead of blaming the man who didn't go looking for the woman, will blame the woman for because somebody didn't come looking for her. I mean, I try to understand the analogy, but it's just so funny. This is what I believe. Like Ola pointed out, this girl, that the lady that he got married to, noticed him online and went, and reached out to him. I don't think there's anything wrong if you have somebody that you admire and you reach out to the person. Not like you be so, there's still a way that you can always come across.
Yes.
So ladies, I just want to say this, make good with the advice that Ola just said. Something that you desire, something that you like, you can go for it. If you don't go for it, you may end up settling for anything. That is just a contribution to what Ola said. Thanks.
Thank you, Father. Thank you, Father, for the contribution. You said my mind on that particular issue. So I want to contribute a little to what Ola said. And while he was talking, I saw a man, I saw somebody who really understands what marriage is. When Father Kelvin finished talking, I talked about principles and systems that govern marriage. If we learn it very well, that won't have issues in marriage. And while Ola was talking, I saw that this person has actually mastered some of these principles. And he made mention of personality assessment test. And I was like, wow. Because you see, he said they met in 2019, right? Ola, are you there? Ola, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm here.
Okay, sorry, let me get the date again because I actually want to look
Yeah,
at it.
we started chatting in July 2019.
Okay, and by December 2019.
Yeah, we were married.
That same year.
Yes, that's correct.
That's like 5 months courtship.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, so you know why I asked that question? There's a point I want to make there. When Father Kelvin finished speaking, I said that sometimes people are in a relationship for 10 good years.
I remember.
Without actually, making something out of that relationship. And at the end of the day, people still go ahead to marry who they do not know.
Yeah,
but
like,
they were in a relationship with that person for 10 years.
Like
but they
the
don't know
speech
that
I gave.
person.
Like the speech I gave, I mentioned two things that addressed that. One is knowing yourself. If you don't know yourself, it's difficult to make another person know you.
Knowing, exactly.
And communication, I mentioned communication. I said, though it sounds cliche, but it goes beyond just whiling away time with somebody, passing the time. Okay, I've called you today, tomorrow again. That is a functionary. But when you communicate with the motive of knowing that person, it's different. It's a different ball game. So when you see relationships where they courted for years and still, I mean, I've been in the marriage for a year and about 2 months now, and we are yet to have any major altercation. Yeah, and at the point I was feeling maybe there was something I wasn't doing right, because it seems the norms is at the early stage of marriage is there must be basbos and all that.
Exactly.
I have to tell myself maybe I should give myself and my partner a pat on the back for we are really doing this the right way. So it's not the norms that when you get married, the first 2-3 years must be turbulent. No, it's about how prepared you are before you got married and how effective your communication with your partner is. I think those are two important things. The irony is once you're married, like I'm finding out, you even get to know yourself more. Marriage will unravel your identity for you. Yes. But it is good if you know yourself to a very good level, even before getting married.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you. And thank you once again. So just like he said, Father Kelvin was advising the young ladies that you can go for what you like. And then it boils down to what Ola just said, self-discovery. It comes down again to what I was saying about emotional mastery. And the first one, I talked about empathy. Self-discovery is also another skill in emotional mastery. So have you seen how important it is for us to really master our emotions? I think it is important for us to take a course on emotional mastery or emotional intelligence before actually getting married. This way, this self-discovery we're talking about, you will learn it. Empathy that I talked about, you will learn it. When Father was saying the women should go out for what they want, it is when you know yourself. That is when you have discovered yourself. When there is self-regulation, you will be able to know who you are in the first place. When you know who you are, you know what you want. And when you know what you want, you can now go out for what you want. So, but I discovered that sometimes so many people cannot even say what they want. They don't even know who they are. And that way you may not be able to go out for
Please let me chip in something.
What you want.
Let me just quickly chip this in. A few days ago, I stumbled on a thread on Facebook, and immediately I read it. I promised myself I was going to bring it up at this seminar. You know, a lady made a post about Nigerian ladies in particular who travel abroad, and for one reason or the other, they are myopic and they can't see beyond where they are coming from to get married. It was an interesting trade. You know, she was advocating for women, Nigerian girls in particular, that are outside the shores of the country, finding themselves in UK, US, Australia, wherever, that it is not a must you marry somebody from Nigeria. It is not a must you marry somebody from your... Now, the interesting thing is this. I saw a comment from another Facebook friend who is presently in China. And, you know, this comment was much more objective. And she said, the problem with some of these Nigerian girls is not that they don't know they can marry whoever they want or be in a relationship with whoever they want, but because they have a certain expectation based on where they are coming from. You know, they profess to want a relationship where they are seen as equal, but because they are used to, they are coming from a background where men do everything for them, and they don't want to let go of this luxury, so to say. So they opt to date Nigerian guys with the same mentality that I am the one to provide everything for you. You are just to be the trophy I want. She actually made examples of women that have dated a couple of guys that are not from Nigeria, and they were very shocked to find out maybe their partner is saying, okay, we have a date. You pay for your travel expense to come, or we go on Dutch on the date. This was strange to them. And because they don't want to, they are not comfortable with such arrangement. They prefer a kind of arrangement where the man do all. Now, I just want to say this. For all our choices, we have to take responsibilities.
Yes.
And it's very important.
Yes.
That also contributes to how a relationship goes. When you don't want to take responsibility for your choices, there is bound to be altercation. So for women that they've chosen to go outside their reality to date other men, to explore, they must be ready to also, you know, play within that reality that is not theirs. I just had to chip that in.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for the wonderful lessons you have shared with us. And before I call on our next speaker, there's something he mentioned that is very important. He asked us to go take personality assessment test. It is very, 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 very important. You see, personality differences is one of the major challenges we also have in marriage. And when you do not know who you are, when you do not know your partner, it becomes a problem. So you really need to understand who your partner is, and then your partner understands who you are. And you could also be surprised to find out that some of us do not even know who we are. We don't know our personality at this point. There's this personality assessment test that we use in family system engineering. In family system engineering, it is almost the same with the assessment tests that you know. But in this assessment test, brand of cars were used. It was assumed that a human being is a car. And if you're a type of car, it means that I, as your partner, will have to understand. Let me take, for example, my partner is a G-Wagon. And if my partner is a G-Wagon and I've not driven G-Wagon before, I've not used G-Wagon, it is important that I learn how to use G-Wagon, how to operate G-Wagon, so I'll be able to operate the car. I'll be able to drive the car. And in the that personality assessment, it was also stated that you drive the car the way it is configured and not the way you want to drive it. So that's one of the things I've also picked from his story, that is personality assessment. Very important. If you need personality assessment test, please do send a mail to the organizers, the DaHel Partners and Consult, send a mail to them, and I will send you a personality assessment form that can help you do your personality assessment. It is very important for us to have a smooth ride in marriage. All right, we go to the next speaker we have Helen Godwin. Helen, I hope you're ready for us. Helen Godwin is a co-founder of DaHel Partners and Consult. That is the people that are organizing the event we are having right now. She's a graduate of philosophy from the University of Jos. And she's an expert in personal development as she has grown over the years. She is the co-author of Against All Odds. And presently, Helen works as an administrative assistant at the University of Calabar, Nigeria. Helen is married to David Francis, the co-founder and the CEO of DaHel Partners. Helen will be speaking to us on the topic, the effect of a long-distance relationship. Helen, the stage is yours. Good afternoon, Helen. You're welcome.
Happy Valentine's on this end.
Thank you. Same here.
Thank you very much. Just like you have earlier said, I'll be talking on the effects of long-distance relationship. Well, I like speaking from experience personally as a person, because most of my activities that happened before marriage with David Francis has been real life experiences. So if I'm sharing my story, it's actually reality and as it is. Our relationship has been a distant one from the beginning, from day one till marriage. Sometimes people say long distance relationship don't survive. Yeah, I would be tempted to say yes, but of course, looking at the fact that we are married, we made it, it's possible that a long distance relationship can actually survive. But then if you get to look at the hiccups that comes along the way, the setbacks that comes along the way, might just because we have some risk and some other things that occur at the process of this long distance relationship. Sometimes when you don't have your partner always with you, there are times when you have things you want to share, you can't reach out to this person. You tend to have a friend, someone else close, whom you can always reach out to anytime, any day to share your experiences or share your problems. And if you are not being careful at the process of finding that person, good enough to share your experiences or your problems, you tend to develop intimate feelings for that person. It's always the case, really, always the case. But then for me as a person, what helped me through was what we share with David Francis. There's always this particular thing that you can't just find in everyone. You find it in one particular person. Earlier when Father Kelvin was talking, he was talking about having to talk about be able to absorb everything that comes here. I, for one, I grew up in a background where I didn't have the means to experience. I didn't have the Sorry about that. I didn't have to always share my personal experience. I was always locked up. I was always locking up. It was difficult to be expressive. That was what even gave birth to my book as a person, because all I did was always write. I didn't have the means to express myself. But meeting David Francis, he made everything different for me, because for him, he believed that when you express yourself, you get a relief. When you express yourself, you'll be able to free yourself from whatever burden that comes your way. Your ability to be able to express yourself as a person makes a whole lot of sense. So I just found him as a friend. I could comfortably tell him things I couldn't say before. I could do things I couldn't do with other of my relationships from the past. You know, he was just a friend. So it helped me even when I traveled away from him. I met other relationships with people like Claire, you know, after the differences. They were nothing like him. They didn't give me the opportunity to be expressive. They didn't give me the opportunity to be happy as a person. But with him, it was different. So the long distance relationship is your ability to know where you're coming from, and know the person you have, and know to share your relationship. That was it, because that will really help me to the relationship. That was started. That was all helped me to survive in my own relationship. I was able to you know, reconcile between him and other person I've met in the past. It was
Hello, Helen, can you hear me? Helen, can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me, ma?
Can you hear me? Your end is breaking. Your end is breaking. We can't hear you clearly.
Hello, are you there? Can you hear me?
We can hear you now. We can hear you now.
Okay.
Hello, Helen.
Yes, ma. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes. We can hear you now.
All right. Okay, so sorry, please. So in summary, there's always a high possibility that a long distance relationship will survive if you are able to succumb all the temptations that come, all the setbacks that comes. It's always a reality test to see if true love actually does exist, as the case may be. If your love can stand the test of time. I can say that mine with David has been able to stand the test of time, given the fact that I was far here in Calabar, David was far as Abuja, he had his own thing going for him, I had mine, but then we were able to still figure it out within ourselves that no, it cannot just be someone else, it has to be the two of us. I remember there was a time we had a very serious misunderstanding that almost crashed our relationship. It was Sandy Walker that came to our rescue. I always owe her gratitude each time I remember her, because she did a lot at that point to help our relationship survive. It's always not easy, but your ability to work it out makes a whole lot of sense. So thank you very much for having us here. We really do appreciate your time, your effort, and everything. We are sincerely grateful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Helen. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm open for questions. If there's anything or contributions, I'm here. I'm open for all of that.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, just like Helen said, do we have any question for Helen or any contribution, anything we want to add to what Helen just shared with us? As you can see, just like I said, our talk is towing the same line. She has also just shared her own experience, long distance relationship. Ola told us about meeting his spouse on Facebook, and today they are happily married. So relationship can actually survive whether long distance or short distance. So any question or any contribution for Helen?
Can I just say hi to Helen?
Okay.
Hey, sweetheart. How are you? Thank you for that. Thank you so much for opening up and bearing your soul to everybody so that everybody can learn your experience, because you've had some absolutely incredible experiences together and apart, and they've been joyful and they've been difficult, but here you are together at the end of it all, and I just feel so honored that I could be a very small part of the last part of that journey. So congratulations on your talk, congratulations on your book, and thank you so much for inviting me to be a part of it.
Thank you so
and
much.
To you too,
Helen,
David.
thank you. Helen, I hope you heard Sandy.
Yes, I did. Thank you so much, Ma.
All right. Thank you so much. Helen, there's a question here. Let me read it. I have a question from Jumoke. Jumoke is asking, what type of conversations strengthened long-distance relationships? I think that's what she wrote there, yes.
Okay, I
Helen,
didn't really
hear that. Okay, he's asking, the way he wrote it, he said, what type of conversations I think he's trying to find out the type of conversations that can help strengthen long distance relationship, as in what kind of talk were you people having, or what will you tell her? What should she talk about
in a long distance relationship?
In a long distance relationship, if he is asking, I think Ola, you also help us out here. When Helen is done, Ola, you will also help us talk to Jumoke. Jumoke should be a girl or is he a boy? I don't know. Jumoke, he or she is asking what kind of conversations. That means what kind of talk what should we be discussing in a long distance relationship, if I understand her question?
It's a very difficult question to answer because we are all different. But like I said during my speech, to have effective communication as a communication student, communication must have feedback. It must not be one way. There must be somebody saying something, and the communication journey is completed when there is a feedback. But that is very theoretical. Aside from that, the communication must be practical. It must be geared towards trying to know more about the other person daily. And the only way to achieve that is when you sincerely want to be part of someone's life. So when you are having communication, people are inexhaustive. Whatever could make someone not even to know themselves 100%, you can imagine what it would mean for somebody else to be knowing them. So every time you have communication, you can guide yourself by making sure it is always geared, not always, but most of the time, it is geared towards knowing more about the person. It helps you to listen, even when you're communicating and it's for fun. Maybe it's a random call, but because your motive is always to know more about the person. Because like I said, it's a thing. When you want to be in a team, the more you know about the person, the easier it is to work together for common goals. So let that always override whatever you're flirting with each other on the phone. Let it be at the back of your head. You want to know more about this person. You're casually asking about each other's days. Let it be genuine. Let it be because you want to know more about the person. You want to know how they handle their day. You want to know how they feel. So I think that should answer that question.
Okay. Thank you. Helen, I think the question has been answered. Helen, do you have anything to add?
Yes.
Okay.
Just like Ola has said, it's always difficult to answer that question because you wouldn't know what conversation you will have at a particular time that will trigger someone's emotions or anger For me, it goes with the flow of the conversation or of the gist within the scope of time. In my own end, personally, when we were at the point of heat in our relationship, almost everything got me irritated. You know, every little thing he says gets me angry. Of course, at that time, I was having the attention of a friend who was always there for me to share whatever it is I had to share with him. So almost every conversation then was actually irritating, and it was difficult to reach out to me. I always do thank him because he had this sense of humor. He was intentional about what he was doing as a person. So each time he sends such attitude, you see him traveling all the way from Abuja down to Calabar just to be sure that everything is okay with me from my own end. And each time he comes, there was always something to go back home with. There was always something to let him know that all wasn't well at that point. So the only thing I can say is if you're in a relationship, be it long distance or close distance, you just have to be intentional about your emotions or about what you are doing as a person. So I don't know how far that must have answered the question, but that's all I have to say for now.
Okay. Thank you, Helen. I still have
Thank you.
questions. I still have some questions here, but I will just take one for now. We're going to take our time and see if
Okay.
we take most of those questions as fast as we can. I have I have some questions, but I'll take one more, and after
Okay.
this, I'll come back to it later. And this question, Father Calvin, please, if you're still in the house, I can see you're still here with us. Father Kevin, please, I want you to help in answering this question. I have here, I must say the seminar is yielded and very enriching in respect to communication, being a vital part of relationship. How do you seek to know someone who gets insecure whenever you try asking personal questions? Father Kevin, did you get the question? Hello, Father, can you hear me? Hello. Okay, it's like Father is not here at the moment.
All right.
Okay, we will come back to this question. I too will handle the question, but for now, I will want us to bring in Vincent. Vincent Idoko. He is the chief editor at DaHel Partners and Consult, and he is the editor of the book Against All Odds. Remember that part of this seminar that Against All Odds is to be launched in this seminar. And so he is the one that is going to review the book for us. He has a master's degree in philosophy and has partnered and worked with various NGOs. So we will call on Vincent Idoko to review Against All Odds for us. And after the review, we'll go straight to the launch of the book. So Vincent, if you're here, please, the floor is open. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Welcome on board.
Thank you. Greetings to the organizers of this marriage and singles seminar. Special greetings to Maraga at the top, Mr. Francis and his wife, Helen. I also greet the distinguished guest speakers that have spoken before me, and also my greetings go to all the guests and audience here present. I want to thank David Francis for giving me an opportunity to be part of his journey professionally and even relationship-wise, and also for the honor of editing and reviewing his book. So to be forward, I will be presenting. My name is Idoko Vincent, and I'll be giving a book review. So to be forward, this book review will be structured into 5 points. First, I will give a note about the author. Second, I will talk about the author's craftsmanship. Third, I will talk about the uniqueness of the book. Fourth, I would draw out some lessons from the book, and then I will give recommendation for readership. So first, a note about the author. I recall the first time I heard about David Francis. I heard about David Francis before I got to see him. It was after a presentation in class. I was someone who was considered reserved back then in school. Actually, I was and still am in so many ways. So many didn't think much of me. And then there was a time we were given an assignment to make a presentation. And when I spoke, some persons were wowed, and a friend of mine came to me and said, the way I speak reminds him of someone. So I inquired to know the person, and then he said, David Francis, that the way the guy is, he speaks so well that even lecturers are afraid of him. I said, wow, that's good. That particular person that told me that is someone who is known to always exaggerate things. So I didn't really take it very serious. I just felt it was one of his usual stories of exaggerating things. And there was a time we had a combined class, and it was time for questions, and I heard one meticulous voice from the back, and the way he was just punctuating his sentences, his words, the logic, the questions and everything. I inquired to know who this person was, and I got to know it was the David Francis that I heard about. Little did I know that there was a wireless connection going on between my class and David Francis' class, because Helen was in my class and David Francis' class was just a block away from my class. I didn't know that something was happening. But what I want to note is that from that time till now, he has lived up to expectation and even more, and even more. So we'll go to the next, which is the author's craftsmanship. Now, it is not enough for a writer to want to tell his story. What's important is the dexterity of expression that goes into telling the story. We are talking about creativity, clarity, engagement, and depth in expression, because that is what will make people actually connect with the story. And from what I've seen, even before now, I've known David Francis to be a good writer, but in this book in particular, you could see a master wordsmith in action. You know, the way he's able to express himself with so much clarity, you know. Of the many works I've had the privilege of editing, I think I was able to edit this work faster than I had expected, because the work was interesting and engaging. So beyond it being a work for me, it was something I loved reading, going through, you know, his experiences and sharing from the wealth of knowledge and lessons that he has been able to, him and his wife have been able to put together in that book. Also, I want to talk about the creativity that went into the writing of the book. One quality of a good story or a creative writing is the ability, first of all, to engage the 5 senses. That is the sense of sight, the sense of hearing, smelling, tasting. The way Francis is able to describe experiences, and his wife also, the way they were able to describe their experiences in the book, you could literally see what they were seeing, hear what they were hearing, taste what. If Francis, for instance, was taking, let's say, brown coffee, the way he would describe it, you would be feeling the taste of the brown sugar even in your mouth. So you can appreciate his creativity in the writing. So beyond the creativity that went into the writing, and beyond the lessons, also you get an insight to what it means to be a good writer, what it means to tell your own story in a way that is engaging. A good story is also able to engage your emotions. While going through the book, there were times I was sad, there were times I was happy, there were times I felt like crying. It was because of the way he was able to creatively express, the way they were able to creatively express themselves in telling their stories. And also a good writing ought to be able to engage the powers of your imagination. There were times I had to stop while editing and I would just wander far away thinking, a lot of the stories they shared, the experiences made me to ponder. And then a good story should be able to affect the resolution on the wheel. It is not just enough to tell the story. I believe they are telling the story because they want people to learn, they want to better and improve the lives of others, especially in their relationships. And so a good story should be able to influence a resolution, to influence your will. And I saw that clearly in the book because while going through the book, I was having some challenges, and there were points I had to pause and make a decision because I felt, okay, if this thing happened this way, this thing happened this way, I feel if I make a decision this way and that way, it's going to help me. And I did, and it's been very, very fruitful. The third point I want to talk about is the uniqueness of the book. Every book has a unique selling point, because for a book to sell, the first thing you need to consider is what the new thing you are bringing to the table. You don't bring something that is overflogged or something that people are familiar with. Now, there are three things that I feel makes this book unique. The first is the honesty that went into the writing of the book. The second is the reality of the book. And the third is the authenticity. The way they were able to describe their experiences that on a normal day, it would be very hard for anyone to divulge. They were able to express themselves in all honesty and in all authenticity. There was a time I chatted Francis up after editing the book halfway, and I told him that, Francis, you and your wife will chop lion liver, to be able to express themselves and say the truth as it is, all they went through, their experiences in their past relationships. It's not easy. If we are familiar with the popular Hollywood actor and stand-up comedian Kevin Hart, he is always fond of making stand-up comedies out of the experiences of his wife, his children, friends, and relatives. So there was a time he was asked why he disclosed some of his wife's sexual proclivities in one of his stand-up comedy. And he said, and I quote, he said, my wife and I enjoy openness and honesty. That's the beauty of stand-up comedy when done correctly. Honesty and authenticity is what people respond to. Ultimately, you laugh to what you can relate to and what you believe. So putting my life out there in full is what I do and is what I've been doing. And it's very true. If you watch maybe a horror movie, for instance, or any other kind of movie, and there's a way the movie piqued your interest and engaged your emotions, and you later learned that this movie was based on true events or mirrored after someone else's life, there's a way the movie hits differently. because at this point, you're not just talking about the figment of someone's imagination, but you're talking about actual experiences that people had. And so it's always easy to connect and then relate to your life and even allow it to influence your life.
Mm-hmm.
And the way the book is written, if they will permit an alternative name, I could even say that, or rename the book as The Confessions of David and Helen. So we had a priest here who spoke before now. So if you would want to have an experience with what it feels like to be in the confession as a priest and listening to the confessions of other people, then you do well to get the book. You are sure you have that experience. The fourth point I want to talk about is the lessons. The book is very rich with lessons. One of the lessons of the book is that it gives a template on how to learn from experience. It gives a template on how to learn from experience. Francis and his wife, they wrote their experiences in the book, and they were able to pick out the lessons in the book. If you are opportune to be familiar or personal friends or have a close relationship with Francis and David, from years back to the present, you see how their life has morphed for better. And I want to believe one of the reasons why their lives have been able to graduate, if you observe the trajectory of their lives, one of the reasons why their lives have been constantly improving is that for every experience that they had, they were able to sit back, reflect upon this experience, and pick the lessons as they go. So from one experience to another, they picked lessons and they became better. So it's a book that would show us on how to pick lessons from our experiences. But another thing I want to say that it's not enough for us to just be waiting to experience everything before we pick lessons from this experience. One smart way of learning in life, as they said, that the best way to learn is from experience, is to learn from the experience of others, because we cannot live long enough to experience everything and learn from them. And it is not even wise to want to experience everything before we learn from them, because there are some experience we may not be able to recover from. And then there are some experience that even leaves scars on us that will follow us even to the grave. I remember a time Francis posted on his WhatsApp that he was having some kind of reflection about the past, and being an emotional person, he broke down and said, these are some of the scars. So we know that these scars are, or the emotion was some sort of catharsis, some sort of cleansing or purging, but it's smart to learn from the experience of others than allowing ourselves to experience. And that is what Francis and his wife have done for us. They have given us their experience, their pains, their hurts, so that we ourselves, we don't get to experience the pains and the hurts before we get the lessons. We just have the lessons directly given to us cheaply. So it's a good book for picking lessons from experiences in life. Then of course, I would want to add that the experience of these two persons, when I read them, for someone who is as conservative as I am, I feel their experiences can cover an experience of 9 lives. You know, so much. There's so much to learn. It's also a book. It's also a book that we can learn the art of forgiveness. A relationship that works is a relationship between two forgivers. It's very difficult for any relationship to thrive without the grace of forgiving. And so seeing all the pass through, see all they did to each other, the hurts, the betrayals, and everything. And at the end of the day, they were able to find a meeting point. They were able to forgive and let go. It's a lesson for anybody who has been hurt before, and also a lesson for those who have not been hurt but may be hurt in the future, that it's always possible to forgive when we allow ourselves to the healing process. And there's also lessons about dealing with pride in a relationship. You know, at a point they told themselves, okay, let's go our separate ways. But at the end of the day, they discovered that they will end up looking for each other in every man or woman they met. And they didn't allow their pride or maybe a feeling of exaggerated self-importance to stop them from saying, okay, look, this is you that I want, and it's either you or no one else. So they didn't allow their pride make them lose, you know, something or someone that is irreplaceable. They recognize that they were both irreplaceable, and they able to put aside their pride and allow their relationship to flourish. There is also lessons
Amazing.
about listening to your partner. You don't just hear your partner, you listen to them. If they had listened to themselves at one point in the relationship, maybe they would have avoided some of the hurdles that they encountered. But they later learned not just to hear what the other person was saying, but to listen. There's also teachings on honesty. The book itself is all about honesty, and they were able to overcome their challenges because at the point they had to be open to each other, open to what they had done, open to their secrets, the skeletons they had in their cupboard. They had to be open. They allowed themselves to be hurt, to be healed, and the relationship flourished. Finally,
Okay.
it's a book that tells about love as sacrifice, love as sacrifice.
All right.
Without sacrifice, there can't be love. And though I can't mention all, but it's a book that will teach us to love against all odds. So the book is recommended for all persons, married and singles, apart from children, because in a sense, I could say the book is an 18 plus book. So it's recommended for the married, singles. If you've had any issues in your relationship before, it's for you. If you haven't, then it's a guide in case you have sometime in the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vincent. Thank you. Thank you for that wonderful review. All right. In fact, it's as if I've read the book from all that he has been able to tell us. And I'll encourage each and every one of us to please get this book. A wonderful one. I've had the opportunity to be with Helen and Francis, and I know there are those wonderful people who are eager to learn and who are eager to share their experiences. Very open, very open. Helen was in my premarital counseling class, and I can assure us that the book is it's a wonderful work. And as for Francis, the very first time I got his mail of inviting me to be part of this event, wow, I knew that was a writer sending the mail across to me. So please, the book is a must-have for us. I would want to either Vincent or Francis to help us out. How do we get this book? How can we purchase it? Can we buy it right now? Can we make payment right now? And when we make payment, how do we get the book? Either Vincent or Francis, who can help us out? Francis, are you there?
Okay, I'm here.
Okay, so please help us. How do we get this book?
I'm going to drop the link to get the book. I'm sending out the ebook to everyone who pre-ordered this night. As soon as we are done with this program, I'm going back home and I'm going to sort out those persons. So if anyone wants to get a copy of the book, the person should do so through the link I am going to send to you. You can as well call the account number I'm going to send to you. It's my wife's account number. Now she be my financial manager.
Okay, good to know.
So,
Good to know. Okay, so please, any I think we can also reach out to you on any of your social media handle and maybe send a message for anybody that wants to get the book. We can also send a mail. We can reply on the mails that were sent to us for this program, for this seminar when we registered, to get across to David or Helen or Vincent to be able to get this book. I know David is very active on Instagram. Please, you can go check his bio and you will see how we can be able to get this book. To clarify, it's an ebook. David, is an ebook, right? Hello, David, can you hear me?
Yes, it's an ebook. The hard copy is going to be available from next month.
Okay. So for everyone that needs the book, please, you can, even if you want the hard copy, you can pre-order now. You can pre-order, you can always send a message across and the book will be delivered to you. Thank you so much once again, Vincent, for the wonderful review. So now, please, I'm going to bring in our next guest speaker, Felix Abraham Obi, a public health practitioner. He co-edits the Nigerian edition of African Health Journal. He writes poems, short stories, and articles. And just like our former speaker, he loves telling stories too. But he loves telling stories through photography and creative nonfiction. So he's going to be sharing with us on my love life and lessons. That's the topic he'll be sharing with us. So please, Felix, the floor is all yours. You're highly welcome.
Hi, Charity. Good afternoon, and thank you for bringing me in. First of all, I need to apologize because I was supposed to join since maybe over 2 hours now since the program started, but I had to do my official duty. My wife was traveling, so I had to take her to the airport, and it's not long. I just got back home. Yes. First of all, I also want to thank David for inviting me. And it's quite an interesting thing. I was listening to Vincent do the review of the book, and I really want to commend him for, he and Helen actually, for being that bold to share their story. Because most times we don't really get to read about people's true life stories, about their love. And so I think I want to commend him and Helen for being that bold and honest to share their story. And I can attest to this because before their wedding, David also shared part of this story online. And I'm like, how could you share? Tell people how I think he said he left Helen at some point, and several years later they came back together. And I think it's actually good to hear because, like they say, true love endures, really. True love endures. And I'm also a witness to that, in the sense that, so I have an interesting love story. So my wife is Brazilian.
Wow.
And
amazing.
So she's just traveling. She's a lecturer. She has to go back to go do some teaching. But it's a love story that endured all odds to survive. And I think it's something that I should also, when I noticed that David had written his story, and I'm like, maybe I should consider writing our own story, because it's a story of cross-cultural love, cross-continent love, long-distance love, and all, and it had this all uniqueness. But one, I know that we've been on for a long time, and I told David, I don't want us to stretch beyond what we have planned for today. But one key thing, I know today is Valentine, and going from what David's story, as Vincent had already analyzed and shared all the key nuggets from their story, I I know that a lot of times among young people, a lot of people, like when people are looking for love, of course, we look at the externals or maybe how do I feel and all of that. But I was telling one of my young friends, I think about 2 weeks ago, we were at a wedding with my wife and all that, we were discussing. And I said, one thing that I look back, I know I made mistakes in the past, maybe in my early 20s and all, where I actually had people that loved me, and maybe I thought I should just face the world. Maybe then I wanted to just do PhD, become a professor and all. And there were one or two girls who were really deeply loved me, and I loved them. But I think I was more concerned about trying to make sure that I sort my career out and a whole lot of things, maybe get money and all. And I realized that because they didn't see themselves in my plans, they quietly marry someone else. And maybe several years after, when we had met, and one thing that was clear to me was that I realized that the love they had for me then was so genuine, and still that love is still there. Or if I can say, that friendship is still there, even though they have been married for years. And I look back and realize that just because I didn't include the person who loved me, who cared for me in my plans, I ended up losing them. So I tell my friends, young friends, that look, even when that it is actually good to go along with the person who is committed to you even before you became someone, because they understand you, they've seen who you are, and I think there must be something in you that drew them to you. Don't try to like stay away or be afraid to move on with them. I like the sort of thing David did. You know that this is your woman, and yes, you may have made mistakes in the past, but look, you don't need to let her go, because losing someone who loves you genuinely, you might think, oh, there are other people along the way, but it's not always that easy to get that kind of person that is committed to you. And one other thing I learned that is a reflection of love is loyalty and commitment. Loyalty, I mean, I'm just speaking as a guy. I know that I'm just saying this. I'm not, that I have friends who I look back 10 years, 20 years, maybe we met when we were either early university days or something, and you realize that these people, the sort of loyalty they have shown remains, the sort of commitment they have shown to your life, to your career, to a whole lot of things about you. Some I met, maybe we met when early days of my writing and all, and these were people who treasured everything I wrote. They helped to spread it. They're always looking forward to things I write. And I recognize those things as actually deep expressions of love. It may not be the emotions of love that we expect, maybe romantic things that we expect, but that if for a young person or someone who is looking for love, that those might be some of the signs or things to look out for that actually express, show love much more than the romantic side or expressions of what we think is love. I know David just said I should share from my life, and it's the same thing. So my wife, like I said, is Brazilian. We met so many years ago in a Christian fellowship in the UK, and there were things I saw in her. I realized that we share the same values, and of course, for the average Nigerian, when we hear of Brazilians, we think, oh, these are very amoral people who only dance out, they go for festivals and all. But I watched over time, I realized that this girl was actually a very genuine Christian. I know I may not be talking to a Christian audience, but I found out that this person was really dedicated to God. Her values were very things that the values are aligned with my own sort of values. And gradually, that was how we became friends. I actually was the one who walked up to her to get her contacts, and there were a lot of things that happened. She was also praying. I was praying in my heart, and I realized that I had a lot of peace being around her, and we built this friendship. And of course, considering that she's Brazilian and I'm Nigerian, that was where the battle. So family, especially from her side, they've not had any interactions with people from Nigeria. So, and maybe the Nigerians they know in Brazil are people who deal with drugs, and also it was a bit of a challenge trying for them to understand that, oh, not all Nigerians are bad. And there were also some cultural I don't want to use the word prejudices, but I say maybe ignorance. I'm just using the ignorance word freely, but that a lot of times people have misconceptions about people and or people's culture. So some of them, they've had stories. Of course, the media doesn't really paint Nigeria very well, but there were things that some relatives heard about Africans or people who live in Africa. Oh, they don't take care of their wives and all. So they were really afraid and all of those things. And then, but after the years, I remember what my mother-in-law told me. She said, after a while, she just began to trust me because she realized that the daughter trusted me. And the daughter, that's my wife, stood her ground over the years. Like, even when her family members were opposed to the relationship, opposed to us getting married, she stood her ground in the sense that she knew what she got and said, I'm not going to let this guy go. So even when everybody was against her, she stood like, and it strained the relationship between her and her parents. But I think looking back, it was important that she went through that, because at the end of the day, when they had a turnaround, it was because they realized that, look, this girl it looks like she knew what she was looking for and that she saw what she had always prayed for. And this was something she eventually told me many years later, that after that, there were things she saw in me that made her realize that, look, this is the kind of man I want to marry, and I'm going to stick by it. And sincerely, I know I'm just sharing a story. I will round up very soon. But at some point, when I visited her, I told her, okay, because your parents are giving you trouble, I would rather you marry a Brazilian. I told her this in her father's house. And she cried so much because someone else was coming, had proposed to her, and she said she thought I would help her to say no to this guy. But I said sincerely that I wouldn't mind if she, so long as she sorted out that, and if she loves this guy, I'm willing to move on. And she vehemently refused. Of course, she cried, but she came back, just like, I'm just kind of saying the same thing that David have experienced. So I let her, like, I think maybe for like 6 months or more, to date the other guy. And just in the middle of dating him, she just told herself, no, I'm not gonna, my heart is with Felix and I need to go back to him. So she went to her pastor and explained, and bingo, she had to fly to Nigeria with her dad to come and see me once again, because she just said, look, I need to go back to this guy. So that's why I'm bringing the issue of loyalty and commitment, that when you're bonded in your heart with this person and they show loyalty and commitment, I think it's important to sort of preserve that, to not take it for granted that the person will always be there. So good enough, because I still love that, I said, okay, let me just wait. If her relationship with this guy takes on a life, then I can let go and move on to someone else. But good enough, it didn't quite happen. And then she made that sacrifice to fly all the way from Brazil to come and see me, not me going. Yeah, so she came with her dad. And an interesting thing too is about her dad insisting that, look, I'm not going to let my daughter go to a country she doesn't know. And she was her first time of visiting Africa. This man, it was his first time also traveling out of Brazil to Africa. So they came. We went to the village, saw family members and all. So that also shows that it's good to also have a father who cares for his daughters. Because her dad's presence also made me realize that I can't take this girl for granted. I need to be sure that, because he said, look, this is my precious daughter. I'm not going to let her go until I'm sure you take care of her, that kind of thing. But it was a great, and her dad accompanying her also gave her a lot of comfort, because she just realized that, look, this man loves me. My dad loves me enough to, he's protective of me, to even come all the way to come see me and all. So I'm just going to round up in the sense that what I wanted to share today is that I think at the core of love, of course, love is not so much about the emotions alone, but it's just that sort of decision to stick with someone, to stay with someone who is loyal, and you show love through your loyalty and commitment. And of course, there are a lot of things you do for the sake of love. I'm not emphasizing on those actions. The actions are just a reflection of decision you have made. But that decision for me is decision to be committed to this person for life, over the long run, and then to be loyal to them. And of course, one other thing is having their best at heart. And I recall one of the things I've been telling my wife, I tell her that she's my Oga Madam. I know she's not Nigerian, but I tell her she's my Oga Madam. And she said, what does Oga? I say, Oga is the boss. And of course, it's the opposite thing here. I know ordinarily, because we grew up in a patriarchal society where the man rules, So I'm trying to, in her mind, to make her realize that she can be all she should be able to be in the house. So in our house, I told her, look, in the living room, she made the decision about what chair, the color of chairs and everything, because I just felt, look, women also have better appreciation of color than we do. So there are a lot of decisions. I just said, if you feel comfortable, this is what you want, I'll go by it. And sometimes she feels, are you sure? I said, I absolutely, that I've been making a lot of decisions, but there are things I want you to take charge, take control. And if you make the decision, if it comes out bad, I take responsibility. But the important thing is I want you to have that confidence that you are not just an appendage to me, that you are my wife and everything about me belongs to you. So, and I want to empower you to be able to take charge so that even when I'm not there, you can make very strong decisions and knowing that I stand by you, irrespective of the outcome. So I just want to end here, but there's a lot to share, but for me, I just want to emphasize that stuff about loyalty and commitment, that for me, those are actually the essential signs and symptoms, because I'm a public health, a medical person, that if you're looking for the signs and symptoms of love, it may not just be the external feelings and all of that, but that at the core of it is loyalty and is also commitment. All right, thank you everyone. And I'm sorry for joining this late. Thanks, David and Helen.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Felix.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing with us. Thank you. Again, it's still coming up, a long distance relationship that has also survived, and we are hearing a beautiful love story. Please, Felix, please, I want you to take a question.
Okay.
There is a question that I really want us to answer. I think we have 2 questions that are important that we answer. Please, I want you to take one of those questions. Let me look for it and read it out. Okay, this is from Bernadette. Bernadette asked, what are the best ways to manage a long distance relationship? I am in one currently, and honestly, I most times want to back out, despite the fact that my partner believes it will work. Please, what do we say to Bernadette? I hope you got the question, Felix.
Yes, I did.
Okay, you can read. You can also read. It's on the chat to everyone.
Okay.
I read the question from here.
All right, thanks, Bernadette. I know it's a tricky one, sincerely speaking. First of all, I never planned to be in a long distance relationship. Sincerely, like the first person I wanted to marry was living in London while I'm here in Nigeria, and it was one of the realities that, look, long distance relationships have a lot of disadvantages. The merits the merits outweigh the merits to a large extent. But I also was to marry a friend who moved to America while I was in UK, and we came to an honest. Then I was a student while she was just about to start her PhD, and the PhD was going to be for 5 years, and we had to had that difficult conversation that maybe it might not work. So we didn't go ahead, but we remained very close friends. So when this third one that I came down to Brazilian and I'm Nigerian, so it was a bit of a crazy thing. So one thing you may want to know is that the long distance is for a period. So if something has a lifespan, that the long distance is not going to be perennial or perpetuated, then you know that it's going to be an issue. So if the distance is for a while, so maybe the guy went abroad to do like a master's or PhD, or the lady is in Nigeria and the guy is working abroad and they they are going to meet up at some point. So those are some conversations, difficult conversations that the two would need to have so that they have a plan. So either there's a transition plan, so, okay, over this period where maybe, I don't know what level, the state of her relationship, but the important thing is that there has to be, first of all, like two of you have already agreed that, look, we are going to get, this is for the long term. So if it is a short-term relationship and you guys are not committed to the long term, then maybe the long distance might not necessarily be what you want to find a solution to. But if indeed two of you, based on understanding, have come to the point that, look, we are going to get married. I'm talking of marriage now, that you really think that you want to get married or you want to date, then you would have to, first of all, understand the realities and peculiarities of a long distance relationship. And then you need to now put strategies in place to ensure that you guys regularly keep in touch. So for instance, my wife, she just left Nigeria now, though we have, so whenever we are not together, we do a lot of, we are in regular touch with each other. Unlike before, like the other relationships I said was long distance that we had to end with. By then, internet was not this, social media was not really very prominent then. It wasn't commonplace. So, but now the FaceTiming opportunities exist, whether through Facebook, through WhatsApp, so there are various opportunities for people to interact face to face. I know it is not the same as having a physical presence, but the fact is that virtual presence, the lockdown had made us realize that we can connect virtually. So people do virtual marriages, people do virtual, people connect virtually, whether graduation, burial. So there's a lot that virtual platforms are provided for us. And I think people in long distance relationship need to take opportunities like that to ensure that they keep in touch. And of course, let each other know what you do. So if they are very transparent and open to each other, I don't think, especially for if the long distance relationship has, you have an end, two of you have agreed. So if they are going to get married, maybe you are courting and then you know your wedding is going to happen at a particular time. Then during that period, there's a lot, maybe you're planning your future life together, what things to do. So you have opportunities to make corporate decisions that two of you will make together. But if it is a relationship that is just open and it has not been defined and there is no agreement as to it's going to be a long-term thing, there is a commitment to get married, then having that long-distance relationship that has no end in mind, I don't think it is the best for both parties. This is my just humble submission for now.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. And Collins awareness. Collins is somebody that I know very well who is always eager to learn. I've also seen your questions. I think Felix's answer is the answer to your question. Though, despite the fact that this person is still in a relationship, yours is talking about people who are already married. One person is in Lagos and the other person is in Calabar. I think is the same answer. I hope that answer is enough. And if it is not enough, I can always give you answers. I mean, Collins, please briefly. I'm going to call on Louis Edet. He is one of our guest speakers. He was supposed to be among the first people to speak to us, but he has been trying to log in, and it's just now that he has been able to log in. And I know our time is fast spent. After him, just briefly, he will talk to us in a few minutes, and after that, we'll have vote of thanks, and we'll come to the end of the seminar. So, Louis Edet, if you can hear me, can you hear me?
Yeah. I hear me.
If you can hear me, okay. Yes, I can hear you now. Okay, you're welcome.
Okay, thank you very much. Sorry I came late. I tried to log in. It's still morning for me. I just want to talk and then probably go back to bed. So I wanted to talk about the issue of feminism and the toxic feminism. And the reason why I want to touch on that is because I'm seeing that it's slowly beginning to seep into Africa, Nigeria, and the way we think. The first problem we have to note is that we have to ask ourselves, when we hear some of these propaganda buzzwords like independent woman, you hear things like marriage no be achievement, you hear stuff like that, the first question you have to ask yourself is, where are they coming from? Just like so many other things that Oyibo people have given us, there are some things that aren't really meant for us, religion, politics, the way they do their democracy and everything. We are just a consumer nation that keeps on taking not just what we use and what we wear, but ideologies. And some of those ideologies are dangerous. So I just quickly give you a brief story. When the women's right here in the US to vote came about, right? The white women pushed it and then black women joined and everything. But when there were now specific issues, because white women didn't undergo colonialism, white women didn't undergo slavery. So when there were specific issues that black women had, white women couldn't help and cover that problem. So you're still having today where there's still tension between black women and white women on certain issues. So it's like everybody has this general idea, but when it comes to specific issues to the African woman, they still don't take note of it. They still don't have a solution to it. And they don't care about it because they are more about their issues. And then after the civil rights movement, I think in the 60s, a lot of black men started losing their jobs to industrialization because things were taken over and the job market opened to black women more. And during that time, during the Ronald Reagan, I think it was Ronald Reagan that was the president, introduced the drugs issue against cocaine. And some even said that the FBI deliberately flooded the black market with cocaine. So there were high levels of arrest of many black men who didn't have a job. And out of that depression and inability to provide for their families, right, they went into cocaine. Now, the funny thing was that if you check the records, the majority of people that were arrested, they're not even those selling cocaine. The majority of people that were arrested were those people who had cocaine in their houses and were using it for themselves personally. And that was a high number of people. So that was the first thing, because the civil rights movement was, the strength of the civil rights movement and why it worked was on the back of black families. So the first thing they did was to attack the black family. And how did they attack the black family? Take the man out of the picture. So that's more women started working, more men started struggling. Jobs that men would have had, women were taking on those positions, and then they had to take on the position of being in charge of the families and all that. And that is where you begin to hear that term, because they started making more money. That's where you now hear the term independent woman. In the black community, that was where it came from. It came because of this strategic attack on the black family. Now, we are having opioid crisis in the white community. They are arresting those guys. They are not saying, yeah, you guys are taking opioid. Now you see adverts on TV say, opioid is dangerous. Oh, here are the things will help you if you are addicted to opioid. These are the things you ought to know. These things were not done for us back then. It was, oh, you're on cocaine, arrest the person, and now we are not having that issue today where we are having more men raised by single women, and they weren't really taught how to be men. So they can't handle certain issues in the family. You're seeing so many destructions in the black family. Now, the reason why I'm worried about this is because people are beginning to pick up some mindsets from here and applying it into the African context and saying, well, I love Chimamanda as an author, but once she begins to go into feminism, I feel it's very deceitful. For instance, I heard her saying, oh, why should a woman get married when she's after her bachelor's degree? Why doesn't she have to go through her master's? Well, the problem with that is nobody is saying that she shouldn't do her master's degree, but if the lady is married, why are you bastardizing someone for saying, listen, I've had a bachelor's, so I want to get married? There's a difference between a career woman and a woman with a career. Those are two very different things. And because we know that whether we like it or not, this is supported by data, this is supported by statistics, we know that when women get to a certain age, if a woman gets to 30, 31, her age mate is not going to want to marry a 31-year-old from the man's side. We still end up going down to marry a 27, a 25, a 26, So by the time you do that and you're seeing somebody saying strategically, oh, I want to remain I'm running after this, I'm being senior VP and all that. Yes, it's good, but at the same time, you are having a lot of people carrying that mindset and not realizing that, wow, so they want to get that and then consider family. And by the time you're beginning to consider family, people may not be available to you. The options you had 5-6 years ago may not be available to you now. So, but a lot of women don't realize that we just carry all those things. And to tell you that this thing is not meant for us, I've said this before, the legal age for sexual consent in Nigeria is 11 years old. How come no feminist has changed that? Look at what's happening in the North. How come no feminist has changed that? There was this woman, this Hausa actress, because of what she wore something and posted on Instagram. I don't know whether you guys follow that story. They even sent the police to arrest this. Where were all the feminists, especially those ones who are in the celebrity sphere? Why didn't anybody say anything? Why didn't anybody stand up for her? Because for some reason, this thing seems to be steeped in some people's personal anger over certain things that must have happened to them in the past. I heard a woman say, she said, once a girl is born till this day she dies, she's oppressed. And I messaged the person. I said, that's a very dangerous narrative you're putting out there. The former speaker just said something about the father of his wife bringing her and following and supporting her. If women are being oppressed up to that point, then why would the father? So we all have parents. You want to tell me that if anybody messed with you as a little girl, your father stood by, or your father jumped at the person immediately? So when people make that kind of statement, and I followed the woman, and this is somebody who, she had a difficult father, right? And she was married to a man, but she didn't have a problem with the man. She had a problem with the man's family. And for all those years, even after she had children with the man's family never truly accepted her, and the man was not strong enough to stand up for her. So you can see that this person is coming from a place of hurt and things, and people are taking it and taking it and taking it and taking it. So I think we have to be careful how sometimes we women have to learn how to rest in their femininity. Be a woman. And let the man's masculine energy blend. If you bring on the masculine energy as a woman, it's to a certain degree, a lot of it. I hear when people say, independent women, men are was intimidated by independent. No, really. The reason why a lot of men will not go for an independent woman is not because they are afraid of you making your own money. I want you to make your own money, so that if I need to borrow money from you, I can come and borrow some money when things happen. I will definitely push you, and I've seen that. But the reason why is, is because if you are putting out a masculine energy out there, some men I don't want to have to deal with that. And I've seen that. My ex putting out masculine relationship, fuck this, for throwing certain words here and there. I'm like, please don't swear in my house. Things like that. Telling me, you have this African mindset. The person who is telling me this thing she's from Ivory Coast. You're an African. So I'm like, okay, what do you want me to have? Because I have seen white families where women still play a traditional role in the family, and everything is going smooth. Where are you getting these things from as an African woman? You're seeing what these things are doing to destroy our community, how we've been, and our history. So when you echo something that has been said, it's just like, for instance, even I know it's a popular thing now, the wig, the makeup and everything. If you notice, the makeup makes you lighter. And in the Black community, when women do their braids or other things, white girls call it ghetto. But it becomes trendy when white girls start doing it. When Kim Kardashian starts, it becomes trendy. Everybody wants to identify with the Black culture, but nobody wants to identify with the Black people. So sometimes you should learn how to reject certain things. You're using certain things that make you lighter. Well, what is that saying? The people who are selling those products, what are they telling you? They're telling you you're not good enough. And I've had that conversation even with women in Nigeria. Like, you look far better without a makeup, and you could have a nice afro. Why don't you? And they say, we are not doing it for you. We are doing it for ourselves. Okay, don't be offended, right? And I heard my little cousin in Abuja telling me, I do it so that I can be confident. I'm like, if you need makeup to be confident, then you have serious self-esteem issues, right there. And so the same thing with my ex. She would tell me things like, "Oh, I'm not doing it for you." I said, "Okay." So what I do is, anytime she does makeup, I don't compliment her. So sometimes she would do a makeup and we are going out, and she said, "Oh, Louis, how do I look?" I said, "Well, I thought you said you're not doing it for me. You're doing it for yourself. So why are you asking how you look?" You know, so I kind of like, I'm strict on things like that, because it's like, if you're not going to listen to me, after all, women talk about, if a woman likes a man's beard to be a certain way, you say, "Oh, some men keep their beards or take off their beards because my wife wants it like that, or my wife doesn't like it when I keep beards, or my wife likes it when I keep beards because she likes running," things like that. So if I feel like, if your man says, "Honey, I think you look wonderful," without that appreciation of Black beauty, and I'm sure it goes for a lot of African men out there, when they actually look at their women on and off makeup and they say, "You know what, I think I prefer you without makeup." That's validation. It's validation, and it's wonderful. And then the next problem is about this feminism thing, is the mindset of, "Oh, men are doing it, when it comes to social lifestyle, men are doing it, therefore we should be able to do it." My dear, we are built biologically differently, and we are built we're mentally different, right? So I think we should be careful with things like that too, because the problem is, a lot of young girls are putting certain things out there that is not helping them. For instance, now a lot of young women are being objectified. The only difference is that the women are the ones objectifying themselves. So unfortunately, we will have, a situation whereby it still plays into that narrative of, you see a young lady putting some things on social media, right? And then she's still going to come out and tell you, "Oh, by the way, even though I posted that thing on social media, that's not me." Really? So these are things that I think we could look into and say, let's try to, let me round up. Let's try to be in our energies, be masculine in your energy, be feminine in your energy, complement each other, understand each other. Don't let certain ideologies that come from outside, scrutinize them. What's behind it? What's the propaganda behind it? What's the issue under it? These people don't like us. You see Oyibo people. Let me say it now. They don't like us. You see some of these Nigerian actresses that they lived in the UK, they lived in America, they're all coming back to Nigeria so that they can be in Nollywood. If they were allowing them, through their empowerment and their feminism, if they were allowing them to act in the UK and pursue the act, they wouldn't have come back to Nigeria. But because they've sifted them out, so they know that they can't break through in Hollywood, they know they can't break through in the acting world in the UK, so they come back to Nigeria. That tells you something. So these people don't like us. So there are certain ideologies that come from there. It's not like this sagging thing that they find out what it is, who was it meant for, and as Africans, we should sometimes learn to reject certain things that are not ours, and appreciate our culture more. Yes, some people say our culture is oppressive. I look at it, I say, yes, there are many parts of our culture that is oppressive, but are they oppressive because we just want to oppress each other, or are they oppressive because there was a plan to either overprotect, and then at the end of the day, that overprotection became overbearing and then oppressive? Or is it because of the heavy level of expectation this one is for men now, where there's a heavy level of expectation, so they push men to fulfill that expectation, and in the process it becomes oppressive. So these are the things we should try to find out, and not let certain things seep into our mindsets, and that might be destructive later on in life.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh, I wish you came early, but network will not allow you to talk to us on time, so that we would have had enough time. So, but thank you. I've picked quite a number of lessons from there. Please, I want to find out if Maureen is in the house. Is Maureen online? Maureen is one of our guests. She was also struggling to log in. I don't know if she's available at the moment. Meanwhile, I want to say thank you to everybody that participated. I want to say thank you to all our guest speakers for finding time to be here, especially those who were on a different time zone, are supposed to be in bed, but they were still able to join us. I want to say thank you for your time. Please, for the book, for those of us that will want to get the book, I want to read out the account number that you can use. You can use Helen Godwin is the account name, and the account number is 2265701645. I'll take that again. 2265701645. The bank is Zenith Bank. Zenith Bank. When you make payments, please send an email to David Francis at DaHelConsult.com. David Francis at DaHelConsult.com, or you can also reach him on 0810 627 8770. 0810 627 8770. So once again, I say thank you, and I call on David Francis to give his final vote of thanks so that we can close. David, please. David, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. I can hear you now.
Right. So thank you so much, everyone, for honoring us by participating in this maiden event. I am particularly grateful. I'm particularly grateful to Sandy Walker. It's about, let's say, 11 p.m. or almost like midnight down there in Australia. Thanks so much, Sandy, for taking the time to speak to us before taking a walk. Thank you so much, Father Kelvin. Father Kelvin, I've known him for years, of course, before his Facebook episodes. And he's presently working in Malawi. When I reached out to him because of a post he made some time ago, I was able to talk to him about my experiences, like, getting a shock absorber. If you would want and if you would love to come and have that discussion with us. So he did well. I am really sure he did well. As a priest coming from him, someone who experienced hundreds and hundreds of marriage issues here in Nigeria and outside, and then in Malawi, I think it's important that we listen to him. Then I wish to thank Ogbeni. There's a name that he calls himself, and there's a name a lot of us know him by. Thank you so much, Ogbeni, for coming. Thank you so much for accepting to love your wife from Nigeria, and of course joining her over in the UK, even after the COVID-19 wahala. Thank you so much for that lesson, or for the lessons. Thank you so much, Louis. I see it's night, or is it morning in the US right now? He has been trying to join us since, but for the sake of the network or whatever it is, I had to go check my settings and send him my own personal login details. That was why I was able to join us. So he is passionate about Black marriages in the US, and he's experienced a lot of toxic feminism. So he is talking from experience. When I told him about my marriage last year, in fact, he was one of those my friends who asked me, "Guy, are you sure of this thing you want to do? If you did this here for saying you know marry first too, are you sure?" So he was really scared, because he's had friends who marry and a couple of years they are out of marriage. And even my wife told me of a very close friend of hers who within a year had to run away from the house.
They won't kill us.
Yeah, we have a lot of experiences that can make you get scared. Louis was there to remind me that, man, I need to take my time. Well, I took my time, and yeah, I want to remain married. Helen is not running, I'm not running. We die here. So thank you so much, Kilokeys. Kilokeys is the last person I reached out to. I met him in Abuja and we've attended a lot of shows together. The first time I performed the poem, he was one of those who punctuated the performance with some good music and a couple of poetic friends. It's good. Thank you so much, Kilokeys. And he's performed for a lot of serious-minded brands in Abuja and outside. He stays in Kano. Thank you so much, Kilokeys. Mr. Felix Abrahams will be, I think you are the only person I've called your full name. That's to show you that the weight of your gist to us this afternoon. I had to invite my wife to come and listen to you. Because, in fact, if I want to use pidgin, you now our ancestor for this matter, talking about long distance, getting a lot of friends from outside and within Nigeria, and finally getting married to someone in Brazil. And I want to put myself in your shoes. How long again will it take you to see your wife? That's the one question I ask myself. And how long again is it going to take her to see you? And I hope she's crying inside the airplane. If she's not crying, then I hope you start crying, because these phone calls, Zoom meetings, Google Meets, seriously, I decry you. I sometimes reflect about the whole long distance thing. It's really tough. I think this is the second time I'm seeing my wife this January. Okay, this February, yeah. Since January, this is the second time. I don't know when next I'll see her, but I'm sure that she's going to call me and she's going to give me a strong warning. You better come, oh. You better come, oh. You better come. So thank you so much, Mr. Felix. I learned so much from just listening to you. And I hope that we hear a lot of those stories out there. Thank you so much, Helen, my beautiful sugar baby. Thank you for telling everyone about she did blush. Thank you for telling everyone about how it has been, the effects of long distance relationship. Thank you for telling about how it has been for us. The summary is that we broke up 3 times, and because it's not easy, we decided to sit down and work on ourselves. And thank God, I regret a lot of things, but I'm here to regret getting married to Helen. She's so beautiful, she's amazing, she's intelligent. I mean, thanks so much, Dave, for accepting to write this book with me and for sending out all these nuggets to everyone else out there. Then we have Mr. Idoko Vincent. When you were talking about your experiences in Kaduna, I know you were one of those I used to meet one way or the other. And I so much love the fact that you were able to reminisce in all this, and you were able to create a connection between our meeting, between the book, and between our art as writers. You did a marvelous work editing that book, and I'm sure those who read that book will sure enjoy every bit of what you've done. Thank you very much, Vincent, for reviewing the book. Thank you, Ekene May, for that fantastic poet. Peace. I love it. Ekene May is an award-winning poet. She got some plenty money from one Italian competition like that, and she's performed a couple of places in Abuja and outside. It was nice to have her with us. Our poem was incisive, it was detailed, it was touching, and I feel every single word of our poem. Thank you so much, Ekene May. And last but not the least, I want to thank Mrs. Charity Odu. I wish I could see you today, Mama. I know say Valentine continue later with your Bobo, but I would have loved to see you before I leave. I'm leaving tomorrow. Okay. I love every single detail of how you handled today's event.
from the beginning to the end. I love your patience. I love your environment. In fact, no day like me will be young family man to concentrate.
Thank you.
You handle this, and I'm sure those who are going to watch this event, because it's going to be on YouTube. I'm going to promote it. Will definitely know that there is something called fantastic moderation. It's going to be on the internet, and people are going to see that, yeah, there is someone amazing like you. And for all those who are on their data to be here from the hour of 1, this is 4 o'clock from my end, 4 p.m. It could be morning in Australia, it could be night again in the US, and I know a couple of persons are joining us anywhere else. Thank you so much for caring to learn. Those that have pre-ordered, there are more than 20 persons who pre-ordered our book, and I'm sure a lot of persons are going to send in their contributions to us. Thank you, our participants. Before I leave and before we hang the curtain, let me say that this is the first time I am writing a book with a woman. I've written tons and tons of articles, and I've written tons and tons of other blog posts, websites, and co for clients and so on. And my own book, I also have my own book available for shipping in Europe, and it's been written in about 4 or 5 languages, if not more by now. But this is the first time I'm writing a book with a woman, and that woman is my wife. And I hope the second book will still be with a woman, and it's still going to be 10 years in marriage. If you know go run, after you go run.
No.
Our book is basically about our experiences while we were dating. I want to believe that we don't take dating seriously in Nigeria and in everywhere else. Everyone is challenging and looking at marriage, but they don't forget to remind themselves that there is something that is called the foundation of every good relationship in marriage. For Helen and I, we have written down in detail. The only thing we did not write down truly was the name of all our ex-girlfriends and ex-boyfriends. We know how many person carry the begin to feel bad, but we wrote those stories. We wrote exact things that occur, how we broke up, how it helped us to mend, how it helped us to heal, and so on and so forth. The book is worth having in your library. And I'm looking forward to having messages coming into my DM, inquiries on how best they could get the book. I'm also looking forward to collaborations with people who are working in relationship issues, family issues. The book will speak for you. That's what I can say. Thank you so much. And I think I'll leave it to you. You can decide to drag the meeting or try to tell people to go and enjoy their Valentine. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, David. You're going to see me in a jiffy. I'll be driving out. So you're going to see me. I'm going to give you a call. All right. So to everyone, I say thank you. And at this point, we've come to the end of the seminar. Thank you for participating. And now you are free to leave the meeting. And I believe that some other time we'll also gather together to talk about issues on marriage. Once again, thank you for participating. Bye.
Bye.